Guess what, y'all? I'm back. That's right. And I'm going to complete part two of what we started off talking about earlier tonight. I just couldn't let it go. I'm like a dog on a bone, man. When you ever in the zone and you sitting back saying, I would like to let this go, but I just can't seem to do it. It's greater than me, and I need to get it while it's hot, while my mind is fresh, while I'm thinking about it and all that stuff. So yeah, I'm back. So if you are free for a second to join me for part two of what we were talking about today, please do so. I always appreciate it. And I see a couple people logging on, including myself, as I watch myself over there. So, as you all know, and if you don't know, now you know, my father, I'm his caretaker. So when you have a loved one that's sick, there's no time for, everything revolves around them, and which is kind of like, a child. I mean, some of y'all women out there, when you had them little babies, soon as you get on the phone, anyway, girls, so last night, you know what he had said to me? Wah! Stuff like that takes place, and you're like, ugh, give me a minute. Or, it's all kind of situations that will make you have to stop what you're doing and take care of whomever. And in this case, it's my father. So, no complaining. I had to take care of him, and I think he might be okay for a little while. We'll see. But always got to be ready to jump into action. All right, unapologetic. And you guys have been great when it comes down to just encouraging and supporting and praying for my dad, asking about him, things like that. I really, 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 really appreciate all of that. Now, let's get back to some of this. But before we do, make sure you hit the like button, share my videos, follow me on all the other platforms. Feel free to participate in the super chat. And then, of course, Cash App, super chat, Cash App, and PayPal if you want to support the channel. I got off the first half, and it seemed like somebody sent me a quick small blessing over there to my Cash App. So thank you, whoever that was. I didn't get a chance to get into the details, but thank you so much. I appreciate that. And then, what else? Oh, the phone number. Now, I can't rewind, y'all. I'm sorry. I can't rewind and go back to the number. It's 800-1877 something or jigger. But if you're just watching the show, there is a phone number that you can call and text join to. If anybody got that off the top of their head, so I don't have to, yeah, because I didn't go. I'm not going back. I'm not going back. But I'm just saying, if you want to get hold to that phone number, the phone number, I'll get it at the end. How about that? I'll do it before the end of the show. This way, you'll catch any of the shows that I do or any of the videos that I upload that you might not get a notification from. And you don't have to worry about it. It ain't gonna cost you nothing. I'm not gonna harass you. It'll just simply be exclusive between us, y'all. So whenever I go live or I upload a video, I can, hey, y'all, come here, come here. I'm going live in a minute, or I'm doing this and that. So YouTube can't make the excuse and say, well, they're not watching. They're just not. I hate that, man. It makes me mad. Which brings us back to this censorship. Trying to get out there and pretend that we don't understand or we don't know that these folks have been up to something and been censoring and colluding with our government and many, many, many other government agencies, y'all. Yeah, if you saw the first half of the show, our government was colluding with big tech and not just certain branches of the government that you might anticipate or think that would be involved in this. They opened the floodgates up, y'all, to everybody. They was letting every agency have their way with our freedom of speech. That ain't cool. They tried to prostitute our freedom of speech. All right, who else wants their way with freedom of speech? With a little small division of this is okay. We never heard of that division in the government, but we'll let you have your way too. Everybody was jumping in on the freedom of speech attacks concerning these platforms. We got Facebook, we had YouTube, all of them. And this man right here has been breaking down the judge's, decision. And in that decision, he's been showing all of these agencies and the people involved and what they've been doing, because they're trying to lie and downplay it. No, we weren't censoring. We weren't doing this. So when it comes down to that, you got to get specific with these people. You can't be vague. You got to bring out the details, because if you don't know the details, then you'll be ignorant, and ignorance leads to your demise. If you are not aware of what your government's doing to you, if you're not aware of their intentions, then you will become a lamb to the slaughter. You will willfully or ignorantly surrender your civil liberties. Some reason within mankind, they just seem to not be able to get enough power. They just can't leave well enough alone. You got America, the greatest and most powerful country, and you would think that our leaders should just be interested in preserving that status. But instead, they're doing everything to tear it down for some reason. And I'm saying, wow, that's like self-destruction. And yet the people who are supporting and voting for these people through ignorance and manipulation and a whole bunch of stuff, you're kind of doing the same thing. It's just that you don't know it and they do. So we're going to get back to exposing this because we don't want to be ignorant, y'all. But remember in the first part, you can't just have knowledge without wisdom. Wisdom is applying what you know. So after we get finished breaking this down and exposing all of what they've been doing, you all are all wise because you're watching my show. But this is the stuff that you need to make aware to friends who think that all of this stuff is about tinfoil hat wearing extremists and they just mad. They haters. They haters because they can't take the loss of the election. All of that stupid stuff that the media and the government and all of that been pushing out there to run interference and cover for their true intentions, which is going after our civil liberties, starting with freedom of speech, and then they work their way down. They want speech and they want guns. Once you give those two things up, you're done. But guess what? I'm not going to ignorantly give them up. And that's why I'm doing this show. If I see what they're doing, there's no way I'm going to sit the bench and just be like, well, you know, I mean, things happen. They're just going to do what they want to do. You know how it is anyway. Nope. I have an obligation to let everybody know. So let's get into it because the judge was just highlighting all of the people in departments that were attempting to censor. Because remember, if you go back, if you haven't watched it, go back to part 1. I started the show with a guy from CNN. For some reason, he was mad at just this judge's decision. He was saying, you know what, look at this judge. This judge, he's trying to micromanage. That's what he's doing. So the judge put out all of the reasons why he made his decision. And it appears that the people that was trying to do the micromanaging isn't the judge. It was the government under the Biden administration. So now let's finish pointing out all of their hypocrisy and corruption.
Twitter meetings saying that Twitter assured the White House that it would increase censorship of misleading information. Twitter said, hey, thanks again for meeting with us. As we discussed, we're building what you want us to do to remove the most harmful, misleading information from our service.
What you want us to do. Now, I'm just curious. Who do you think Twitter's talking to, y'all? Because remember, when they tried to get a stay on this injunction right here, their argument was we didn't do nothing. All we was doing, we were just sitting there talking to the people, the Twitters and stuff, just kind of checking in with them and saying, what y'all up to today? Y'all just, you know, going over here. Oh, so y'all made those decisions? Well, hey, look, man. And in reality, these folks were coaching all of these agencies, all of these companies to censor us. So that is the type of language that does not sound like we're just, you know, kicking ideas out there. So Twitter responds and says, we are building on our continued effort to remove the most harmful COVID-19 misleading information from the service. But look at this. Twitter also said, White House, that Twitter would increase censorship of misleading information. Now, did Twitter come up with what they would call misleading information about COVID-19? Do you think Twitter was sitting there in their business meetings with all of their epidemiologists that work for Twitter, I guess? All of their scientists. All right, let's bring in the science team today. Well, yeah. So tell us, what studies have you been, researching about so what should we put on ours? You think they did that? They don't have those people working there. They were getting this information from the White House. Who else?
Senior Meta executives were involved. Flaherty got numbers of reports and was very aggressive with Facebook. He accused Facebook of hiding the ball. Facebook denied that. Then Flaherty followed up with making it clear to the White House that the White House wanted more aggressive action on what they call borderline content. He said,
borderline content, y'all. So Flaherty was the hitman. He was their muscle. They sent the goons. So Flaherty sounds like a goon, y'all. So the goon wasn't getting the results he wanted because Facebook had the nerve to try to push back a little bit. See, they weren't just going to roll over like Twitter and get the stomach rolled. You know, you ever have a dog and you go, my dog's too friendly? I mean, mailman come, run straight to the mailman, letting him know off grip, tail wagging, tongue out. I'm here for fun. Least put up a fake front for a second. Twitter just rolls over, rub my belly. So Well, Facebook was giving a little pushback, and Flaherty apparently didn't like it. Now, remember, guys, the judge made this ruling, and CNN said he's gone too far. Ain't nobody trying to be censoring all these people and stuff. Let's see.
Said, we're holding a series of meetings with you guys. And he says, I'm not trying to play gotcha with you. We gravely are concerned that your service is one of the top drivers of vaccine hesitancy. You guys are screwing up this. I will be the first to acknowledge that this offers no easy solution. But we're not playing a shell game. We hope you're not playing a shell game with us when we ask you what's going on.
Whoa! Them deer sounded like threats, y'all. That didn't sound like we're just making healthy suggestions. Did y'all know this was going on? All the folks who willfully just accepted the narrative about important medical decisions on their body. That came from Fauci, came from the White House, all of that stuff. You think Flaherty was a epidemiologist? He was the muscle. So if you don't have access to all the other options, and they make sure you don't have the knowledge, make sure they silence all of the doctors that came out, all of the other professionals, anybody who spoke up and gave any alternative information to what they wanted people to know. That forced a lot of people to make a choice and a decision based on ignorance. Now, let's just say that choice impacted you negatively. Later on, you should be livid to only find out that these folks did this on purpose behind your back while you were yelling at family members when you was talking about y'all need to go down there and get this because they said that you're killing folks if you don't. Yeah. And then if something happened where you go, man, I jacked my own self up. Don't get mad at your family members that might have disagreed with you. Don't get mad at your informed family members who said, you know, they're fooling y'all, right? You know, they're holding back information, right? You know, they're suppressing other alternatives, right? You know that, right? No, man, you just making that mess up. You and your Trump supporting friends, all of you MAGA hat wearing, anti-vaxxers, all of that. And then you start growing an extra arm out your back. And what do you think about this? It looks gross. Probably came from you being ignorant and allowing them to force you down one path. So I don't want to hear it. So now we got Flaherty over here getting rough, y'all, with Facebook.
Okay, we're the White House. This would be a lot easier if you would just be straight with us.
Ooh.
What? They don't know you anything, government. Mind your business. Facebook then had an in-person meeting with the White House. They provided them updates on their policy. And Flaherty just kept going. You're not making our country's, I want to ensure that you're not making our country's vaccine hesitancy problem worse.
Y'all hear that? Flaherty, the muscle, sitting in the meeting. Talking about I want to make sure you ain't making vaccine, hesitancy worse, a worse problem. Is that the job of the White House? That's my question. See, last I checked, do they force the flu vaccine on us? Is their job to make everybody okay with what they put in their body? I didn't know. I thought it was just to provide options and then shut your mouth and go back to doing what the government should do, which is stay out of our business as much as they can. But instead, they decide that they're going to become into, get into the make you or change your perception of vaccine business. All the stuff that was going wrong in the government and around the world, that was their goal. That was their goal and objective. Now, I'm pretty sure there were way other options, which we did find out, to their goal and objective. But they didn't want to hear those. So instead, they have a meeting with Facebook and say, Facebook, you're messing stuff up. For who? Us? The people? Or were you messing it up for their agenda? That's my question. And so here you have them trying to muscle Facebook once again.
Worse. Flaherty also demanded the censorship of Tucker Carlson and Tomi Lahren because the top post about the jab that day was Tucker Carlson saying things about it. So they wanted him removed. Facebook promised the White House would have a report by the end of the day. They said no problem. April 16, 2001. Flaherty, Tucker Carlson. April 21st, Flaherty, Twitter now, with HHS. Twitter also wanted to know why Alex Berenson had not been kicked off Twitter. They sent an email saying that Berenson was the epicenter of disinfo. And guess what? Berenson was suspended. First Amendment rights, gone.
Gone, just like that. Poof. Now, know what I'm not saying? Antifa was kicked off. Black Lives Matter's site was taken down. Don't see any of that. They're not removing any of those sites and stuff. Yeah. When they're out here online talking about if you disagree with Transformers, you're basically genociding all of them. Is that true? Or is that dis and misinformation? I'm pretty sure that would fall under dis and misinformation. And you're defaming all the folks who got a different opinion and just basically saying, we're running around going, hell, Hitler, if you're not blonde hairs and blue eyes, make sure you. We're not doing that. But yet they allow these people to have their accounts and all of that stuff. So yeah, but there wasn't Tucker Carlson shut up and all of these people, but they're not demanding it. No, they're not demanding it. They're just suggesting, I guess.
Flaherty provided a recap. He was probably sending emails about a bunch of YouTube channels that were pushing back on this. He sent Facebook another message in April. All right, you just see, like, we could sit here and read this, and every one of these is an egregious violation, and it just goes on and on and on.
But wait a minute, man. How can it be just going on and on and on when I just watched that guy from CNN try to pretend like the judge is overreacting? The judge is getting all up in our mix for no reason, man. Yeah, he's embellishing for no reason. So glad we know that that's not true because of all of this information being provided for us. If we would have stopped at the CNN guy, we would think the judge is just a right-winger. But now we're finding that it was so much stuff that we could go on and on and on. Now, if I listened to the guy from CNN, I would think it was probably 2 or 3 things. That was it. Maybe 2 or 3 things they might have went kind of a little too far. We're looking at a plethora of issues.
Page 22. On May 5th, White House press secretary publicly began pushing Facebook and other social media companies to censor COVID misinfo. At a White House press conference, Psaki publicly reminded Facebook and other social media consequences of the threat of legal consequences if they do not censor misinformation more aggressively. Psaki.
Whoa! So wait, the same Raggedy Patty that left the White House, and now we find out she was participating in censorship there, now works at MSNBC, doing the same thing. Just heard her do a video a couple of days ago. Matter of fact, I featured it on one of my shows where she was talking about how, us right-wingers done went and manipulated the Muslim population to hate on the transformer kids. Same thing. So the people who spreads dis and misinformation, yet while making up the definition of what dis and misinformation is, while controlling all of the major institutions that will police what they consider dis or misinformation, now she's working for what is supposed to be a news outlet, y'all. She's fair and impartial. She don't have a motive. So let's see what she was up to while she was there, because I'm sure she's changed her wicked ways since she's left the White House.
He said the president's view is that major platforms have a responsibility related to health and safety of all Americans.
Is that true? I didn't know that. I mean, if I want to open a thing going online, whatever. Well, all right, remember, guys, we have a major responsibility to relate to the health and safety of all Americans. I might wish that. I don't wish anything bad, but if I'm not selling something that could hurt them, or, if it's just nothing more than sharing information, dang, what are you talking about? If I'm selling health products, maybe. If I'm selling something that people is ingesting, maybe. But I got a social media platform. And yet he's talking about their responsibility is to relate to the health and safety of all Americans, to amplify untrustworthy content. Basically, stuff we don't like. I want y'all to highlight that. I want y'all to call out stuff we don't like. Well, how do we know, sir? How do we know what you don't like? We'll tell you. We'll make it up as we go. Soon as it pop up, we'll say, oh, now that right there, I don't like it. So that's dis and misinformation. That's how disinformation and misinformation works. According to them, we'll tell you on the spot what we feel is dis or misinformation. All right? They don't have no rubric. They're not going to sit back and put something in black and white because they want it to be fluid. So that at any given second, they could pop up and use these labels to silence folks. So now we find that they were threatening these joints about doing what, sir?
Stop amplifying trustworthy content, disinfo, misinfo, especially COVID stuff, and elections.
And elections? Now go figure. Boy, I tell you, the two major things that the Democrats use to acquire power Yeah, here we go. Oh, yes. Don't let them talk about COVID and those elections that we rigged. Yeah, the one that I was on TV saying we have put together the most intensive election fraud program. That one, you mean? The one that you received 81 million votes over? But you want that mess silenced on the internet. Now, you can always tell if you're close to the evidence based on how the media comes out and attacks the narrative. When the fake news came out and started saying this is the most beautiful, fair election, cleanest one ever, I'm like, there you go. When they start attacking anybody who questioned it, I said, it's corrupt. Immediately. Their whole goal was, all right, now we know this is pretty obvious that we all cheated. So remember, guys, Operation Attack anybody who questions it. So those two things that they use to get some more control and power, they want people silenced over. Did the bubbleheads who voted for them know that? Did people know this was going on from Raggedy Patty and Creepy Sleepy?
That they really don't want you to talk about. Psaki linked the threat of a robust antitrust program with their censorship demand. Open threats. Censor them or else. We're going to come after you for antitrust. You're Google. You're too big. Said he also supports better privacy protection and so on. The next day, Flaherty from the White House again followed up. So
the goon. So they sent the goon to follow up, y'all. So you see Creepy Sleepy drop that vague subliminal message through Raggedy Patty. Now, we're not saying that we are going to bust up your fancy big company, but I'm just saying you might want to consider that. So now, I think anybody who might have questioned whether this is being forced upon them or not probably got the message when it came down to that. And just to make sure, the next day they sent out the goon.
So it's Joe Biden, and it's literally the White House. Flaherty said, why aren't you censoring more of the disinformation dozen? And
holy moly. I think that's a confession. That's kind of like what we just saw out of the crackhead when he was talking to the Chinese diplomat, I guess, or whoever that was, where it was very clear, nice confession. I'm sitting here with my father right now, and we need that. So now we got this guy coming straight out saying, look, did y'all take care of that? But remember, they weren't censoring. Hold on, let's see what he said again.
The White House, right? We're on page 27 now. That was all the White House stuff. Then we go.
Wait. Let me go back. What did he say?
The White House. Flaherty said, why aren't you censoring more of the disinformation?
Why aren't you censoring more of the disinformation? He even used the word, he used the term right in there when he was talking to him. Why aren't you censoring more of that right there can't even be kind of like, well, it's ambiguous. You can't. He went straight to the word. Why aren't you censoring? Unbelievable. But they'll tell you, we weren't censoring. We did nothing.
Information doesn't. And things kept getting bad. That was just the White House.
That was just
right?
the White
We're
House?
on page 27 now. That was all the White House stuff. Then we go to the next section. Oh, the Surgeon General.
So wait, there's more? You telling me now we done moved from the White House to the Surgeon General? They was in on it? They called up their friends trying to prostitute our First Amendment out? Listen, man, I got the First Amendment over here. Man, we just had a great time. All right, hey, if you want, I can hook you up. You want to come over? Yeah, I think I can make that happen. So now they done brought in the Surgeon General. Let's see what he says.
General. Who's that? Surgeon General Murphy. Lots of stuff for him. So we'll go from 28, fast forward through all of these. There was coordination between different advisories. They were going after the disinformation dozen. All of these bureaucrats from this institution doing the exact same thing. Okay, another entity of the government, page 35. Waldo's asking for similar updates. Instagram, YouTube, Google, Washington Post.
Why are they doing that? Why is the Surgeon General saying, give me some updates? Do Google, YouTube, all of them, do they work for the Surgeon General? Do they work for the government? What are you talking about? Give us updates. Who do you think you are, Mr. and Mrs. Big Stuff? This is unbelievable. If I open up a business and I start getting emails from all these different government agencies like, yeah, we need an update, I would be looking around going, who is this who speaks to me as if they were a part of my company, but yet they're asking for updates. Now, unless you are in a position of power or authority, you don't ask people for updates. See, notice that the lower level management don't walk into the CEO and say, look, I need an update. Notice that usually comes from the top down. I need an update comes from the people at the top that's saying, you handle it and let me know when it's handled. So they're asking for updates, y'all.
Is talking about what Facebook is doing. Murthy is publicly chastising the social media companies for allowing this disinfo to be spread. Said platforms need to step up to be accountable, make their spaces safer. Then we get the CDC.
CDC?
Oh, so we're still going. This is on page 38.
So wait, we done bounced from the White House. We got this. Then we had the Surgeon General come up on the scene and a COSTAR freedom of speech. And now the CDC getting in on it, y'all. The same CDC that was giving us all kind of different mixed signals. The same CDC that woman over at first came out and said, oh yeah, the teachers can go back to work. What? Oh, I didn't check in with the Democrats first in the teachers union. Yeah, I stepped out there, stuck my foot in my mouth. Now I got to go ahead and make it obvious that I'm a sellout. Oh yeah, I changed my mind. Now the teachers shouldn't go back in the classroom. That lady, let's see.
Facebook emailed State Department. Facebook began sending Crawford at the CDC reports. Facebook emailed them about removing information, responding to their requests.
Responding to their request. So now Facebook had to send updates to the CDC. Is that a part of a business plan? Is that, I mean, I didn't know the government also was working one-on-one with companies like that. Normally, you don't have to send updates to the government on what you're doing and your policies. That's normally how things work. But under the Biden administration, no. Under these Democrats who've been ruling, all of that mess goes out the window. Now, does this sound like a group of politicians or entities that are protecting freedom of speech, freedom of all that stuff? And then really, capitalism? This sounds like an oligarch or something. This sounds like these people are saying, you know what, you're not really an independent business that I need to keep my nose out of until maybe taxes come around or something. Other than that, we shouldn't be calling y'all. Y'all shouldn't be having to give us an update. Not even to one agency, but multiple ones. They're giving updates to the White House, CDC, Surgeon General. This is fascinating. So now, when that judge said this violates the greatest attack, this is the greatest attack on freedom of speech in our history, I'm starting to believe it. So now we're already down to the CDC too?
Another email said these themes, seeking info about themes that have been removed for misinfo. Yeah. March 5th, okay? So we've got Surgeon General, we've got the White House, we've got the entire CDC. They entered into interagency agreements and they began weekly meetings with Facebook.
Holy moly. Now they own the staff. They done went into weekly, they done put it on their calendar. All right, guys, Wednesdays we meet with Facebook. Make sure we send out a blast throughout the whole government, every department. Send us the one or two people that sold out and is willing to push this totalitarian agenda so we can all meet with Facebook and y'all them places and have our way with them. Change the landscape, change the perception of what's really going on, change the mind of the people. Make sure we limit their knowledge, their information. We'll give them what we want them to have.
Constantly saying, we'd like more information. Why aren't you adding more labels to those stories? They proposed enrolling the CDC in special misinformation reporting channels. So they could just have a red phone over to Facebook.
So CDC was about to get a backdoor pass to all of the things that come in where they just decide this is dis and misinformation. Wow. I mean, imagine finding out this was being done behind your back. So the government was putting all this stuff together and then presenting it to Facebook and all of them. There's probably a good possibility that they had never even let Facebook know that they were trying to enroll the CDC into that. These folks were all getting together and coordinating it first amongst themselves. And then it wasn't no afterthought. And then they say, oh, Facebook, guess what? We got a new agency coming in. They're going to be sitting in on these meetings and weighing in and stuff. You could go ahead and copy them in on whatever we've been censoring too.
Illegal posts. Robert F. Kennedy's tweeting again. On April 23rd, they emailed Facebook about algorithms so that they would screen out vaccine misinfo.
Whoa. Well, look at that. How many of those folks out there know that they were doing this? Most ignorant folks don't know what an algorithm is, but I do, because those algorithms are digging in me on my channel. You know how many keywords I got to try to avoid. You know how many ways I got to try to be creative just to say what I want to say, because those algorithms are digging into me and they're lying to me. I ask them every time, hey, do you guys set algorithms to screen out us conservatives? What? No, we do not participate. They're doing exactly what the government said to this dang on judge who got all of this information. We don't do that. No, not of any sort. No, we're good. We never do that. And we all know they do. So now here they are asking them to set algorithms, y'all, to catch what sources of vaccine misinformation was that? What's that? Who makes that up?
They defined, right? And they defined it. CDC was making decisions and pushing their talking points out to Google, out to Facebook. COVID Bolo meetings. The Bolo meetings kept happening between.
Be on the lookout. They were up in there like the cops. I want to put a bolo out on fake or mis and disinformation. Yeah. Anybody who disagrees with the diaper on the face, let's go ahead and get them. Yeah. Okay. All right. Be on the lookout. Roger that. Unreal, man. You know how much time and effort these agencies were putting into controlling information and the narrative versus solving the problem? You know, their weekly meetings was probably, all right, guys, this week we got to control more information. We got to make sure these people still remain completely ignorant and blind to what we're really doing. You know, we got to make sure they're overlooking their eyes, their ears, and common sense. Make sure we let them get information like, you know what, we're being overwhelmed. This is the greatest thing that ever hit the planet. Folks are just dropping out. They won't even catch the fact that they're walking around, going into stores and stuff and riding all over the place, and they're not seeing bodies everywhere. And they won't even catch that, y'all. They won't catch it. Long as we can control the information that they're receiving.
In Google and YouTube, all at the behest of the government. We get to the NIAID. The NIAID was run under Fauci. Fauci and others censored Americans like mad. Say the lab leak theory here. Plaintiffs set forth arguments that the virus originated from a lab. They say that Fauci suppressed this. Why? Because he may have been funding the whole thing.
What? Fibo the mouse? Funky Fauci? You know what? I disagree with your characteristic of that. That guy? The one who retired because he figured, oh crap, we lost the house. They're going to be coming after me. Let me go somewhere and sit down. Okay, maybe they'll forget, but I won't. I won't forget the little teeny man running around on TV and getting all these awards and going on a tour and all of that stuff. And then found out that this little bum knew all about this. And then we found out recently that it was a bioweapon, y'all. It went from it was a bat in a wet shop. Then went to, you know what? It could have actually accidentally came out of there. Then from that to, it was a bioweapon. It's a bioweapon. And then you also find out that Funky Fauci could have been funding this mess. Now remember, lack of knowledge. You're still thinking he's a hero if you don't know all of this stuff.
And there was suppression going on from Fauci. He told other scientists, so-called, he said, given the concerns of the distortions on social media, it's essential that we move quickly. Hopefully we can get the World Health Organization to convene. Doesn't want those distortions that might implicate him in his global destruction.
Now, how you like that? You got the power to control the narrative so that it will steer everybody away from your involvement in it. Your guilt. There you go. Now that right there is an alibi that I've never heard of. You know what? Instead of getting somebody to say I wasn't there, I'm just going to go ahead and use the power of the government, and all of that to just simply distort the information. That's all I'm going to do. Kind of like what Joe Biden and them are trying to do right now. So yeah, that man said, let's go ahead and change his narrative because I don't want this crap to come straight back to me. And guess what else they did? Y'all ready for what they did tried to do rather for Fauci? Y'all ain't gonna believe this one.
Spreading around social media. Sure, I wouldn't either. Fauci stated that they should appreciate the urgency and the importance of this issue. We need to get ahead of the narrative. If we don't react to this, it could be very damaging. Yeah.
To me. Yes, we need to hurry up. The sense of urgency is important because if we don't get a hold of this right now, it could be very damaging to me. I mean us, the people. I'm looking out for those people. Or are you, Funky? Let's continue.
Yeah, you're not kidding. They wanted to discredit the lab leak theory, calling it a conspiracy theory, gave out press conferences, wrote articles that they then referenced. Their own people with conflicts of interest wrote articles that they then referenced in front of the press.
Circulating it, man. They say, you know what, let's get our buddies to go ahead and validate our fake behind narratives so it don't look like we're just coming up with it. You know, that's how they go ahead and they work backwards. They socially engineer these narratives. You know, kind of like when all of the parents were threatening all of those school board members. Remember, all of those domestic terrorist parents was out there doing that, and organically, a letter was written, and then of course they had to respond because these school boards were scared. Then we found out later that it was coordinated. Here he is. We're going to draft a letter. All right. Tell you guys just how to write it and everything. You go ahead, say it was involved in it, and then we're going to say, what? Where'd this letter come from? We better look into it, Garland. You see how that works? So they coordinate these things to try to make it seem like it's legit. That's like me saying my buddy is a part of a so-called fact checking company. He owns it. And I go, man, this or that didn't happen. Fact check it. Go ahead, look, fact check it. Night before, hey, dude, when they fact check this, I need you to go ahead and make sure you say it's not right. That's untrue. That right there shows coordination. It shows collusion. So let's see what Funky Fauci did and see if he was able to wiggle off of it.
Zuckerberg sent Fauci an email asking for coordination. Well, they can do that. That's their decision. That has nothing to do with our speech. Censoring our speech is a different story. But of course, this is just warming up. The relationship just got started.
So Funky Fauci and Zuckerberg decided, okay, look, man, we need to meet, and you need to at least be able to do a live stream or something, answer some questions, which is cool. But just in case, though, we disagree with your answers, okay, I also want you to follow up with censoring anybody who disagree with my answers, because my answers is the face of science. My answer is the sole source of truth. Fauci knows what's best. So you can have all those Q&As all you want, Funky, but that doesn't give you and the rest of these agencies the rights to say, well, now I said what I said. Anybody who says differently, snatch that mess down off of there, Zuckerberg. So let's see then what happened after that.
Then they needed to start suppressing information. Of course, we've got those drugs which cannot be named. So, of course, we have this drug. Fauci was asking social media companies to remove a bunch of stuff, and YouTube and Facebook and Twitter did remove a bunch of stuff.
And they removed me twice for this. I might have been 3 times for this garbage. Now, remember all those doctors came out and did that press conference and it went viral, and before they let that catch momentum, they shut them folks down. These were doctors on the front line suggesting alternative methods, and they shut that mess down on YouTube. Remember, guys, YouTube doesn't have epidemiologists in there to check their work. They don't have people working in these dang on social media companies that's able to say, well, actually, I got all the data, and me being an epidemiologist, I'm able to wait. They were relying on one source of information coming from the government, and soon as they called in and said, get them off, they said, absolutely, I'm on it. Then launched a full campaign to destroy all of their careers. Now, this is how you know that this was all censorship and all designed to keep us focused on one thing. If you were really sincere about saving lives, you would be looking for every possible method you could have. You would be listening and taking it from all kind of doctors. If they sitting back trying to give a press conference and say, yo, we're batting 100. You would be going, wow, how'd you do that? Okay, people, here's some new information. You would be doing that. But when you start silencing and saying, nope, you don't need to hear that, trust me, it's bad for you. Now I question your motive. And you're sitting here saying, but wait, these people said that you don't need to listen to them. So all your dang on solutions focused on one thing. That means you're censoring. That means you're saying, I don't want you to have knowledge. I want you to focus on the one thing.
There was also another report called the Great Barrington Declaration, which they removed. It was published online by a number of people who were involved in this lawsuit, and they did what they could to remove it. They said, hey, this is debunking this theory. Fauci and Dr. Collins followed up with a series of public media statements attacking them, calling them fringe and dangerous. And so, they're putting their pressure on that publication. So,
wow. So let's use these big institutions to attack publications that kind of destroy our narrative or question our narrative or bring doubt to our narrative. And you know what they do? Like they always, fringe, far right, extreme. So any dummy who don't know that this is a tactic used by powerful agencies, powerful people, powerful entities, this is a tactic. Powerful politicians, what you do is any alternative information, throw it out there in the far, far extreme category. Fringe, meaning not normal. This is weird and spooky. It's like, some type of alley type doctor in there talking about, well, yes, I think I can drop a little bit of bat wing in there. And that's what they're doing. So they came out, attacked the publication, demonized it. What else?
Social media platforms then began censoring shortly thereafter.
There
Google
it is.
deboosted search results. YouTube updated its terms of service, started removing medical information, which is something we got to strike for. Facebook adopted the same policies.
What?
And Fauci said, I don't know anything about it. Some
don't know anything about it. Joe Biden don't know nothing. So if I'm getting this right, the publication comes out. Dr. Fauci, the CDC director, whoever else, attacks it, calls it fringe, far right, and just miraculously and mysteriously, YouTube starts censoring it. Facebook, all of them just all start taking it off. They were sitting back, listening and waiting to see what Fauci said. I'm sure they got somebody in their office outside of the influence of Fauci and all of them that just reads these publications and stuff. That I was reading an article the other day in a publication that these people wrote. And then I saw Fauci and he made some comments. And you know what? Based on that, I think we should you think all of these social media platforms who followed suit, that's what they did on their own? You think they just woke up and said, man, this is crazy. I read these two things and I think we should remove them. Or did Funky Fauci or somebody say, hey, get these folks off? This is unbelievable. But hey, the judge is making it up though.
Somebody from the NIH, National Institutes of Health, said fake imposter handle, please remove. Said, is there anything we can do to block similar parody accounts of Fauci? Anything you can do to stop him from being impersonated?
What? They wanted to make little Funky Fauci a god. Unreal. You couldn't even joke against Fauci, y'all. Anything we could do to shut down Kevin from Kevin's Corner? Well, you know what? It might block a droplet or two. Anything to stop Kevin from Kevin's Corner. Every time he imitate Fauci, he gets down real low to show just how small he was. See, I'm the face of science that you can barely see because I'm not tall enough for the cameras to see. That guy? Yeah. So now you ain't allowed to joke about Fauci, not allowed to joke about Hillary Clinton. Folk wants to jail over that. And they tried to stop you from joking about Biden. Now that sounds like a dictatorship. And yet we're over there fighting for democracy in Ukraine, y'all.
They don't even want fake Fauci stories. They also went after the mask mandates. You challenge the mask mandates, gotta go. Alex Berenson was deplatformed, removed from Twitter, 2021 on August 28th. This is a section we spent a lot of time on. FBI defendants.
So now, before we get into the FBI, notice what they did, y'all. They understand that laughter and comedy is a great way to influence people. And when you have a good, comedic delivery, it will make some people say, yeah, that dude sound kind of dumb. I'm sitting there. If you make fun of their leaders, because Democrats are easy to make fun of. I hate to say it. Liberals, the jokes write themselves. And they know that a meme will last in your head, or a skit will last in your head way longer than them coming out talking about, this isn't right, this is racism, this and that. So a nice, good joke, a good skit, a good meme will communicate thousands of words. And they can't meme. They can't joke. Nothing really sticks. I can't think of one Democrat joke or meme that they made about us that I said, it's kind of funny. Or that I remembered. I mean, they're garbage. So because they lack the sense of humor, the creativity, because they're all focused on controlling folks, they don't want anybody laughing at them. They don't want anybody talking about them or making fun of them, because the more you do that, one thing people will set aside a lot of that crap is for a good laugh. You send a quick, short, laughable video to a friend, even if they hate Trump, but they might be like, dude, that was funny. That was funny. So they focus a lot of time on not just dis and misinformation, but on PR. You don't want these folks looking, incapable, shady, irresponsible, corrupt. You don't want that. You can't joke about these people. So now we're getting into Kim Jong-un territory, y'all. Let's get to that FBI.
All of the FBI agents who were sending emails to the companies saying, delete this, delete that. Elvis Chan, his thesis was Fighting Bears and Trolls, an analysis of social media companies and the U.S. government efforts, here we go, to combat Russian influence campaigns during the 2020 elections.
Look at the face. Look at the face. That is so true. Look at that. Here we go. Yep. So now Chan whole thesis was I'm fighting trolls and information on disinformation on the election and all that stuff. Whole FBI person dedicated towards that election stuff, right? Couldn't find your way up there to Minnesota or somewhere to talk to the people who was on video camera paying for votes for Ilhan Omar? You couldn't make it up there? Couldn't make it up there to question that? Unbelievable. Look at the face.
Oh, gosh. His thesis focuses on information sharing between the FBI, Facebook, Google, and Twitter. He knows Alex Stamos over at the Internet Observatory, and they did information sharing.
Information sharing. That's all.
With all the social media companies, along with Facebook, Twitter, Google, Microsoft, Yahoo, all the things. He participated.
Now notice the information sharing probably only went one way. You think the FBI was having meetings with all of these places and said, all right, now look, we have a tip about that bomber that we, for whatever reason, can't find. Anybody got some suggestions, Facebook, on how we can find them? You think there's, all right, we got a tip that a couple members from Al-Qaeda came across our broken border. So we're on a look. You think they're sharing that information? See, that wasn't no, we're sharing information. It's give us information about folks we need to shut up, Facebook. Give us updates on how you follow through the things that we told y'all to do. I want no sharing information. You act like this was just getting together and exchanging ideas and thoughts. But yet when the FBI comes out, they don't want to share information about nothing. How many people was you planting that? We can't say that. We can't talk about that. Sources and methods and all of that stuff. So we know it wasn't about sharing no information. Liars.
In a lot of activity with them. Many meetings, Twitter, Reddit, Wikimedia, Facebook, and so on. In the industry meetings, the FBI raised concerns about hack and dump operations. What? Remember? They were persuading people from believing the truth of this because they knew it was coming. FBI officials met with senior people, started preparing them for the old hack and leak.
The old hack and leak, y'all. But remember, CNN got a problem with this judge's decision, and you wonder why. You wonder why. See, well, I'll tell you why. Because that same network, when it came out, was up there. This is obviously Russian disinformation. There's 52 intel community former officers said it. That's why. Because this was the same network and others that spent 2.5, 3 years talking about some thing on Russia, Russiagate, Russia, Don Jr., Russia, Trump, Russia, Putin, Russia. These folks were all a part of that. That's why he got a problem with this judge exposing this crap, because they were also in on it.
Facebook, Google, and Twitter had many meetings with Chris Krebs, director of CISA. There was discovery that was obtained before the Hunter Biden laptop story. Federal officials repeatedly warned industry participants to be prepared for a hack and dump and hack and leak operation.
That's right. Laying the groundwork. All right, now listen up, guys. All right, don't include Raggedy Ray on this, okay? Just in case this all blows up, I'll act like I had no idea any of this was going on. However, this we got to do. We already know that they got the laptop. It's going to be dropping. So we got to go in and start telling everybody, here's a hypothetical situation. Just in case a hack and dump takes place. Sir, what's that? Oh, it's just in case information comes out about Joe Biden and his crackhead son. We want to make sure that you understand it's not true. It's Russia disinformation. Well, how do you know that up front, sir? Well, normally it is. It's we're just saying most likely if it happened just as we're describing, it would be Russian disinformation. Sir, what if it's not? See, they don't even talk about that. They don't want to talk about that because guess what's about to happen as my dang on thing just timed out. I don't give it permission to time out. What's up with that? You know what I'm saying? Is it on a timer? Maybe I need to check. Maybe I need to find out how that thing works because it did that the other day and I was upset. All right. So anyway, so they're going to ask them, well, hey, is this Russian disinformation? Let's see what they say.
Our rotten FBI, useless, supposed to be providing justice and truth and rooting out the bad guys. They knew a story that was bad for their guy was coming, and they pre-butted with all of the big tech companies so that it wouldn't catch. And then once it launched, the CIA, ex-CIA officials, drafted the 51 so-called intelligence experts with their fake propaganda letter that they shoved down everybody's throat and gave cover. Whole thing prompted by Anthony Blinken, who's now the Secretary of State. Twitter.
Why? Why is he still there? Why is that guy there? It already done came out that that guy put that whole thing in motion. And he's still working in the White House. You know why? Because this administration has no shame. You can't fire your corrupt people that you told to be corrupt and knew they were corrupt. You can't fire them when they do a bad job or when they get busted or when they get outed. You know, you can't do it because that would implement you. How you going to fire me if you sitting back talking about, I need you to cover me. And you go out there and you cover that person. Then it comes out that you covered the person. Joe Biden can't come out and fire him. He covered up for his crackhead son. Joe Biden can't come out and fire nobody. But at the same time, they probably can't get rid of Joe either. It's the sad part about this, man. That's what happens. Whole bunch of corrupt people working together. And you see no accountability. That's why you can't get rid of Mucus, who got our border blue wide open. You can't get rid of Garland, who's obviously corrupt. You can't get rid of him because he's covering for you. Unreal.
Block users from sharing the New York Post story, which was entirely true and easily verifiable. I mean, we were corroborating the details with Tony Bobulinski years ago, who had previously sent tweets sharing the story from sending new tweets.
So wait, you're telling me, guys, when we all knew that that laptop was real and the news was running around, that was a close one. We almost thought we had a report on the corruption of the Bidens. But thank God to these 51 Intel community people that they told us it's Russian dis and misinformation. Well, you know, you could talk to Tony Bobulinski. You know, he was on TV the other night and everything he was saying was like on the laptop. Nope, we don't want to do that. Well, you could just like read through the laptop and see just how practical or logical that what they're saying. Nope, blah, 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 blah. We don't want to do it because see, if we look and read through that laptop, we would be participating on pushing Russian and other countries, you know, talking points. We don't want to be a Putin puppet. You see how that works? Only to find out though. Later on, we were right. And they censored a whole news network. Now, you know how much power they have if they were able to do that. A legitimate news organization. Shut that mug down. But that also goes to show how far they're willing to go to control what you know.
They nuked an entire news agency on Twitter. FBI was also sending information saying the FBI should censor this. They shared indicators with state and local officials. They removed all sorts of stuff. Alleged Russian disinfo, anti-Hillary Clinton post, a secure border post. They were...
What? Now, do you see? Knowledge. I mean, I didn't even know they were doing this. So let me get this straight. So they were taking anti-Hillary Clinton posts. You know how many posts that had to be? They might have had a whole room full of agents dedicated to that only. Because everybody hates crooked. So they were taking down Hillary Clinton posts, security border posts. So then when you had the nerve to witness all those people coming across our border and simply acknowledge that, they were taking down posts. It's almost like they wanted the border to be broken and people not to know that it's broken. Then a Black Lives Matter post. Why is the FBI getting into social justice? Oh, that was the whole point. They co-opted the FBI and got them participating in social justice, which to do that, you got to censor and control narratives. Interesting. So now they done took that Black Lives Matter stuff. What else they do?
They removed a BLM post. They removed a pro-Second Amendment post. Chan testified.
Wow. They removed a pro-Second Amendment choice. Now, why would they do that if they're supposed to be protecting the Constitution?
That they had 50% success rate in having election disinfo also removed. 50% gone. So the FBI was highly involved. At least 8 FBI agents at the San Francisco are involved in reporting disinfo to social media companies in San Francisco. In addition to FBI.
Wow. At least 8 in San Francisco. That's what their whole job was. We're reporting some more disinformation for you guys to remove. Okay, what is it? Look, don't worry about what it is. Just remove it, okay? Well, how do we know it's disinformation? Because we told you it is. That's how. That's how. Unreal.
FBI agents, a significant number of FBI officials from their Foreign Influence Task Force also participate in regular meetings with social media about disinfo. So the likelihood that this is all still going on is very high. Chan says they use their Criminal Investigation Authority, National Security Authority, Foreign Intelligence Security, the Patriot Act, the Executive Order 12333 to gain access and investigate content.
And yet they want to be financed again. Yeah, see, all of that right there helps me make my decision and helps me stand by my opinion that they must be abolished. They must be destroyed. Take down all of these. You hear all these agencies that's been co-opted and corrupted? Do you know how much house cleaning needs to take place? You don't think that leftover social justice workers would be floating around the CDC, floating around all of these agencies that we see? They had people inside that were willing to censor and interact with these social media platforms. You can't trust any of these agencies now. That's the sad part about it. You used to just say the CDC only does one thing. They mind their business. They focus on, diseases, rare diseases and stuff like that. Now you got to worry about them undermining you. If you're the president, you come out like, look, we're not shutting down everything. Then you get them undermining you. You got to worry about all these agencies. And then you got the FBI using all of this intelligence surveillance act, the Patriot Act, all of that. And they're abusing that. And now they're up here talking about we need more funding to build some more buildings so we can continue abusing the First and Second Amendment.
On social media, they say we have total power here. Chan testified the 3,600 Twitter accounts and Facebook accounts were taken down. 422 accounts involving 900,000 tweets down 2019.
I wonder how many left-wing ones were taken down, y'all. I wonder how many of those were far left Antifa posts or Black Lives Matter posts. So let me see. Chan testified 613 Twitter accounts were removed. Wow. 825 Facebook accounts. Twitter took down 422 accounts and involving, 929,000 tweets in 2019. That's a whole bunch of tweets. That's a whole bunch of dedication of them going through tweets. You know how many tweets that is? I don't do that. I mean, unless you paid me 8 hours a day to just go through and look at tweets. Somebody's whole mission was to go through, look at those tweets and report them and then have them taken down from the FBI, though, not Twitter.
Massive government censorship operation. Chan testified FBI is continuing to report disinfo. He said post-2020, we've never stopped.
Never stopped?
As soon as November 3rd happened in 2020, we just pretty much rolled into preparing for 2022.
Y'all hear that? So they didn't have no impact in the election, guys. All of this stuff you're hearing was not election interference. See, so by not letting Hillary Clinton get criticized or Joe Biden or Fauci or any of them, none of that played a part in the dang on election. Not at all. Not at all. My doctor, who's my boy, I love him, man. But it's, he was saying some things to me and I'm thinking, wait a minute, hold on. What are you talking about the way Trump handled the vaccine? Oh, you mean to tell me? He's like, well, I'm not into all that information like you. I said, but that's the problem. Remember, lack of knowledge. And you're a doctor. So you're trying to tell me Joe Biden handled this better than Trump? Trump had a few months to even figure out what this crap was. Joe Biden had like 2 or 3 years and still flubbed that all up. But yet, that's what happens when you don't know stuff. You can be educated, but in one category, the lack of knowledge can make you sound ignorant. So now all of this was taking place. And then after 2020, they never even pumped the brakes. They said, let's set our eyes towards 2022 because we can't let those Republicans get back in power. And then, of course, they're moving towards 2024.
I'm sure they're still preparing 2024. You can see, we'll fast forward through a lot more of this. CISA is also on the list as being involved in massive amounts of government censorship. We keep going. Censoring, government censoring. It's supposed to be the people who are upholding our Constitution. No, they're censoring. The entire State Department was doing the same thing. The GEC, the Global Engagement Center, something.
What? These are agencies folks don't even pay attention to. These are third and fourth string players. Here you are coming to meet the Pittsburgh Steelers. You got Jack Frank Persek come out and you're going, who's that? Oh, he's our third string punter. Okay. You want my autograph? No, I'm okay. I'm going to go over here to the big ones, the big stars. So now we got third, fourth stream, fifth, sixth stream agencies getting in on the censorship, y'all. This is crazy, man. Crazy. The Biden whole administration should be brought down. Yeah, you're right. Historic and propaganda. But yet the guy from CNN and that lady was almost offended that the dang on judge said this is the greatest attack on the First Amendment in the history of our country. Sounds just like that to me.
We've talked a lot about here. Censoring and putting pressure on Twitter and others, just like CISA. We also had the EIP, partially funded by the National Science Foundation. All of these little groups
having their
taking
way.
their little slice of the censorship pie. The Virality Project says these people are a part of it. They're connected to the government.
The virality. They were just asking any of these agencies, who else wants in on this? So now, we're working on viruses over here. Yeah, what would be great if you could tell everybody this right here. If I was one of these social media platforms, I would be upset. I'd be like, hold on, how do we start off working with the White House? Now I got people from Virality Project calling me, Virality Project, whatever they call it. Now I got people from the agency I've never heard of calling me. Who are all these people? Why are we now giving reports to 15 different agencies? I mean, we thought we were just working with the CDC, but when you open up the door to the government coming in and determining what you should allow in your company and business, then the sky's the limit. Once you take that bait, it's over. Let's continue.
They targeted COVID misinfo before things went viral. And other people were on board of that. And guess who they wanted gone?
Who?
Jill Hines, One American News, Breitbart, Tucker, Fox, Candace, Daily Wire, RFK, and others.
Wait a minute. Where is CNN? Where's MSNBC on that list? Why weren't they reaching us saying we want fake news CNN? Because they're out there peddling our talking points. They weren't saying we want Rachel Madcow, who everything she was saying was a lie, starting from Russia all the way through all of the vaccine stuff. Why did they say get Madcow off? Because she's spreading dis and misinformation. Why? Because guess what? She was spreading the dis and misinformation from them. That's why they didn't want her down. Look at all these names. All of these people and organizations were organizations that questioned these agencies. The ones that seem to say exactly what the agencies wanted them to say aren't on the list. That's your indicator. Interesting. Let's continue.
86 pages of government censorship, government corruption from multiple government agencies, all at the orchestration of the Biden administration from within the executive branch.
I cannot stress to you all how much this whole administration needs to be impeached. I mean, this is just one issue. Censorship is just one issue, y'all. These folks are dirty from the rooter to the tutor, and they're responsible for so much destruction that I can't hardly even keep it and categorized. I'm sitting there like, wait, well, hold on. All right, they done destroyed the border. They got us almost at war with Russia at this point. Oh, man, I forgot about Afghanistan. Dang. All right, wait. What about the supply chain? What something happened? Okay. Then the explosion over in Ohio. Man, okay. Shoot. Okay, the kids, they're coming after the kids. Dang. These dudes are flub-ups. Not to mention the corruption about Creepy and the crackhead. All of that. These folks need to all be in a dragnet of impeachment. Unbelievable.
The states allege that the defendants significantly encouraged, meaning the Biden people, either significantly encouraged or coerced social media companies to suppress speech. The White House acknowledged at oral arguments they did not dispute the authenticity or the content that the government orchestrated.
Now see, isn't that clever? Notice when they all get busted or when they are guilty of something, they don't address the substance. No. We don't want to even say that. No, you're right. We didn't do any of that stuff because we did. We did it all. But what we're going to do is tell you the reason we did it was for some other bullcrap. So now you cannot say that we didn't do it. That means that's settled. You did it. Let's see why they did it, y'all.
They're not challenging the claims of the states. However, they allege that the emails do not show the coercion or the encouragement.
What?
The White House says no. We were just speaking to social media companies about promoting more accurate COVID information.
Wait a minute. This is blowing my mind. That they would have the gall to come out and try to, after all of this we just heard, y'all, remember, we are informed. We just sat there and listened to a plethora, okay, of times that you guys came out and was take that down. You know what? When is this going to happen? Can I get this removed today? We just sat there and went through all of that. And now they got the audacity to go into court and say, whoa, no. All we were doing was just speaking with social media companies about promoting more accurate COVID information. This is fascinating. And if you didn't have the knowledge about what they really did, you might even believe it.
To get a better understanding of what the companies were taking to curb the spread. That's all. We were just saying, what are you guys doing over there? You working on this problem? White House defendants, they further argue, no, we never demanded social media companies to suppress postings. No. Is that right? Flaherty was threatening them with engaging in political violence.
True.
Psaki was saying that there was going to be antitrust investigations.
True.
The changes were due to social media companies' own independent decisions. I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure of that.
Whoa, man, these folks are professional liars. Nah, man, we ain't tell them they had to do it, even though we did say you don't want these antitrust policies to pop up in your okay. And we would hate for you guys to be responsible for death and violence and stuff like that, and promoting unrest across the country. We would hate for y'all to be responsible for that. So we're not going to tell you what to do, but I'm just saying it would be pretty bad PR for you to find out you were responsible for killing folks. And then don't forget Joe Biden, what he said.
Yeah, they assert that they did not make specific demands via their public statements and for, quote, asks of social media companies. They say that they were just recommendations, not demands.
That's all.
And they say that President Biden's statement on July 16th that they're killing people, in other words, they're murderers, and maybe we'll prosecute them for gross negligence of operation of a social media company for resulting in mass deaths. Biden says they're killing people, saying he was talking about only the disinformation dozen, not the...
Wow. You hear that, guys? That right there was not a threat. That right there was not a way to let you know that, you know what? Y'all don't do what we say. We'll come out and tell folks that y'all responsible for all these deaths, all of this calamity and stuff like that. That's our way of communicating to y'all. Do what we say. It's kind of like with the FBI when they came out about that whistleblower a couple weeks back and say, you know what? We can't tell you about the whistleblower because it could endanger his life. I'm just saying. What? No, we're not saying we would endanger his life or do anything to him. Just in general. It's in general. They sent the message. So did Joe Biden.
The social media companies, I'm sure. So by them not censoring the disinfo dozen, then they're killing people. They're enabling, so they're murderers by proxy. Although admitting the White House employee, Flaherty, expressed frustration at times, ordering...
That's the goon. That's the goon that was all over this report saying, y'all better do this. What's the delay? What's going on over there? Hey, where's the report I asked for? The goon, y'all. And this is how they characterize the goon. They said, although Flaherty was a little what? You know what? He wasn't a goon. He wasn't too bad. He wasn't off his rocker. Flaherty expressed frustration. That's all it was, guys. It was frustration. The goon.
Expressed frustration at times, ordering social media companies to take action. They say that he just sought to better understand their policies so he could make better decisions. But explicit threats, the judge says, are an obvious form of coercion.
Oh, now we coming to the close, y'all. The judge done laid out his argument that helped formulate his decision. An uncontested, well thought out, systematic, informative breakdown of all that these folks been up to. And it's all going to come down to why he made his choice. Now, I'm wondering if the CNN man read all of what we just read or heard. That's what I'm wondering. Because if you did, you wouldn't come to the conclusion that this right here is a right-wing thing and it's overreacting and right here, I mean, you wouldn't be saying that. So here's the judge's conclusion. trying to after he's read the rebuttal from the Bidens and all, I'm saying we ain't do nothing. He's now calling out explicit threats are an obvious form of coercion.
Explicit threats are obvious. Don't even need to debate it. But not all coercion needs to be explicit either. The following illustrative, specific actions by the defendants are examples of coercion exercised
Give us some
by
examples.
the White House defendants. Here's what the judge
Come on,
said.
Judge.
Cannot stress the degree to which this needs to be resolved immediately. Please remove this account
That's
immediately.
one.
Accuse Facebook of causing political violence. You are hiding the ball. Oh, that sounds like somebody is superior to
Tell him,
somebody else.
Judge.
Internally, we've been considering what our options are to do about it. We're the White House. We're the U.S. government. I care mostly about what actions and changes you're making to ensure you're not making our country's vaccine problem worse. This is exactly why I want to know what reduction actually looks like. If reduction means pumping our most hesitant audience with Tucker Carlson saying it doesn't work, then I'm not sure it's reduction.
Wow, those don't sound like just healthy suggestions. They thought they could pull that bullcrap over on the judge. Thank God we have a judge that can tell the difference between doo-doo and chocolate. We didn't make them do it. What does this sound like? Yeah, maybe you didn't incriminate yourself like, you know what, we're making you do this. But this is a passive aggressive way. And in many forms, don't even sound passive aggressive. Sounds very aggressive. But yet the judge has to remind them of these things.
Questioning how the Tucker Carlson video had been demoted since there were still 40,000 shares. Wanting to know why Berenson had not been kicked off yet. Sending Facebook a document saying this has been circulating around the building and informing thinking, meaning there's going to be more aggressive actions your way.
The judge is beating their tail right now. Oh, so you say you didn't enforce this, no censor, no. Okay, how about these things right here? I know whoever's in that court listening to him read this right here was probably going, we left too many cookie crumbs out there for us to get in there and try to belittle this judge's intelligence and say, we wasn't doing nothing, but just having friendly meetings and exchanging information. Just not finished. Go ahead, continue working on the ribs.
Flaherty saying, not to sound like a broken record, but how much content is being demoted and how effective are you at mitigating reach and how quickly can you shut somebody up? Flaherty told somebody in an email, are you guys effing serious? I want an answer on what happened here and I want it today.
Woo-wee! We're CNN. I'm looking for him, y'all. Man, this judge is beautiful. So here's Flaherty, the muscle, the goon, dropping F-bombs, talking about something. I want to know what happened, even though I'm not a part of your company. Yeah, and you shouldn't have to tell me anything, but I want to know what happened, and I want it today. Today. Continue, Judge, reminding them of their atrocities.
Murthy was doing the same thing. Psaki said, yeah, we're in regular touch with these social media companies. We're flagging problematic posts for Facebook that spread disinfo.
Flagging problematic posts for Facebook. Not Facebook flagging them. We're flagging them for Facebook. So basically, we're outsourcing our censorship. We got folks in the White House that was dedicated to going through Facebook and going, we don't like that one, here's this one, okay. How about you do something productive, but instead you're chasing down stuff that's contrary to your narrative and then sending it over to Facebook. Facebook trying to work and they're like, man, dude, I keep getting these emails from the White House telling me to take this down. Man, okay, we're almost done.
Psaki stated that we're creating a robust enforcement strategy. Biden said they're killing people. They're killing people. Hey, folks, want to flag this tweet? Can we get it removed ASAP? How many times
can we get it removed ASAP? I mean, that doesn't sound passive aggressive to me. That doesn't sound like a suggestion. That sounds like we're so confident and so comfortable with you guys that we can just tell you, can you get this down ASAP right now? As soon as possible, please. What else?
Can someone promote false claims before being removed?
How many times can someone promote false claims before being removed? Unreal.
Seems like your dedicated vaccine hesitancy policy isn't stopping them. And so the judge says, look, this is just a few of the examples. All right, just a few.
Just a few. Just a few, y'all. Just in case you're wondering whether this judge has a legitimate reason to decide this. Just a few. Just in case you are ignorant and you're listening to the stupid fake news that's trying to run cover for this censorship right here. Just in case. The judge needed to remind you why he made this decision. And so did I.
Plaintiffs allege the FBI also suppressed free speech, with the FBI and the FITF, an agency sort of subordinate to them, or within them, played a key role in these censorship efforts. But the government says no. They say no, the FBI, our job, relates to foreign influence, man, and attempts by foreign governments to influence our elections.
Yeah, I heard Raggedy Ray today. Yeah, I'm going to be doing a video on that too. Yeah, promoting the fights because Raggedy Ray was getting beat up today. However, Raggedy Ray did the same thing today when they asked him about this censorship. Oh no, let's be straight. The FBI only focuses on international and that. Is that right, Raggedy? Is that right? Well, according to this judge, that's not true.
And after 2016, when we made up a story about the Russians in that one, the FBI said we had to step things up to protect our 2020 elections. And the FBI...
From Trump. That's right. So let me get this straight. The same people who coordinated and participated in faking a full investigation got busted having all type of agents complicit in that hoax. That same agency then right around came back and said, now we need to get back on the internets and go after folks that's going to influence the next election like us. Yes. Meaning folks that might get on there and expose all of this garbage and blow up all the narratives and expose Biden and expose that laptop and do anything that could possibly damage Biden's chances of winning. We got to get in there and make sure that don't happen. You know how hard we work to get Trump out? Do you understand that? Now, we don't want all that to go in vain. So we're going to go ahead and start working on fixing the next election by saying we're doing this to make sure we, have election integrity. You see how it works, guys?
Deny any attempts to suppress or change the information. They further deny that they mentioned the hack and leak operation. The FBI failure to alert the social media companies about the Hunter laptop story was real. The FBI failed.
Y'all see what they was doing? Yeah, and then they tried to go into court and lie. They were out there like, all right, listen up, people. Those that got common sense and stuff and, might have been looking at that Hunter Biden laptop and saying, this is peculiar. I want you to take a look into this light, okay? All right, remember, we didn't do nothing. That's what they were trying to do. Control that information. They were sitting back trying to erase folks' common sense and memory. Like, that's right. Look into this little thing right here. Yeah. So instead of saying, yeah, that laptop, y'all telling us that's misinformation, that don't make any sense. Hey, look at this. So let's continue.
Failure to tell them that it was real and not merely Russian disinformation is troubling. The judge says the FBI had the laptop in their possession since December 2019 and had warned social media companies to look for a hack and dump.
So the judge is a no-nonsense, no bullcrap guy. So they come in there and they try to feed him that dude. And he said, look, man, cut that crap out. Listen. Do I need to remind you? Okay, we know a little information. See, you could pull that off if we didn't know. Just like Grassley. Grassley had already read that latest memo that talks about Joe Biden getting caught up in that little operation, that sting. And yet Ray tried to act like, I don't know what you're talking about. You see how they operate, guys, right? See, if you don't know something, they will lie and mislead you. And then when he found out that Grassley knew, oh, you mean that? Oh man, I thought you was talking about the other document. Okay, yeah, we got that. Well, can we see it? Huh? Can we see it? Oh, no, sources and methods and stuff. Well, it's not classified. It ain't? Oh, snap. Oh, well, we can't let you see it. It might endanger folks. No, we're cool. Could you release that? No, we can't do it. Sources and methods. We'll let you come and sneak a peek at it. Then they wouldn't snuck a peek at it. And guess what he did? Guess what Raggedy Ray did, y'all? He blotted out the part that shows that there were 14 audio recordings. So now, because Grassley had already read it, meaning knowledge, he couldn't be deceived. So when all the other ones went in and read that in the skift and said, I wonder what's under this black stuff. Grassley came out later and said, why didn't you show them that there's 14 recordings? Thank God I have knowledge. Thank God I know what you guys are doing, or else y'all could have fooled me. That's what could have happened. Just like all of this right here. So now they tried to tell this judge, no, we didn't do anything about the hack and dump. See, I might believe that if I didn't know that you guys had that funky laptop in December of 2019. And what did you do?
Even after Facebook specifically asked whether it was Russian disinfo, Demlo, an agent of the FBI, refused to comment. So
what? So let me get this. No, man, we ain't even do that. We went out there telling them to be careful of the dang on, hack and dump, man. That's crazy. Oh, what? Oh, so it happened just like we were rehearsing? Man, that's crazy. That's ironic. Yeah. Uh-huh. Oh, what? Oh, they asked us? Well, is this the hack you were talking about? Is this the Russian disinformation? So now they asked the FBI specifically, is this Russian disinformation? Understand, guys, they had the laptop. They knew that it was not Russian disinformation. And when they were asked directly about this, what did they say?
Says, I don't know. Resulted
I don't know. And in reality, they did know.
in social media companies' suppression of the story, right? So censorship by omission, in a way. Well, I can't comment on it. Well, if I don't comment, we're going to censor the story, and you've already been telling us it could be here. Now it's here. Can you tell us, is it true, or is this the hack? No comment. Okay, well, I guess we'll just presume it's the hack. Got exactly what they wanted.
Bingo. And the judge is smart enough to know that. And so am I. So let me get this straight. We didn't do nothing but go ahead and paint a hypothetical situation, and it's almost identical to what actually happened. That alone should make you go, that's odd. We said in a meeting where y'all went over a hypothetical, and just ironically, that hypothetical matched up almost perfectly what just happened. So could you please help us out, FBI? Because there's a lot of rumors going around. So was it a hack? Is it the Russians? I don't know. But you did know. That means you guys were in on it, and you purposefully deceived us, and it sounds like Facebook.
As a result, millions of citizens did not hear about the story prior to the election. Additionally, the FBI was included in industry meetings, forward all sorts of stuff. So this court finds that this evidence is demonstrative of significant encouragement, meeting the legal standard, by the FBI. But in conclusion, the judge says, once a government is committed to the principle of silencing the voice of opposition, it has only one place to go, and that is down the path of increasingly repressive measures until it becomes a source of terror to all its citizens and creates a country where everyone lives in fear.
Beautiful. That judge to take a bow. That right there sums it all up. He sees the writing on the wall. Only ignorant, misinformed folks who just sit back and listen to the crap that we just read and listened to and say that's why they believe that. Because of all the efforts that the government has been doing to convince them to be dumb and ignorant. They don't want these folks knowing about this stuff, man. And the judge is saying, once y'all start going down that path, especially after us reading all of this information, we know where this is going to end. See, we see the writing on the wall. And the crazy part is these institutions, these organizations, these politicians, they also know that we see it. They want to keep the rest of the people from seeing it. They want to control the minds of those walking around still saying, we need to get rid of guns off the street because this is the number one killer of kids and all that stuff. Not realizing that, no. You need to educate yourself. You need to figure out what's really going on in these Democrat-ran cities with gun violence versus these random shootings that take place every blue moon. And it's only talked about if it's a white person who, has an AR. But yet you're going to fall for the mis and disinformation that the same people who came up with the term dis and misinformation is shoveling down your throat. See, this is the stuff. So our goal, guys, is to stay informed, number one. Find out, making sure what's going on around this country and what they're up to. Always got to be one step ahead of these folks, and not allowing them to get up there and shovel us a whole bunch of bullcrap like I saw Ray trying to do today. And just say, that sounds plausible. That sounds it burned me up today to see this dude sit back when they asked him about, are you guys, gathering information from American citizens illegally? And this guy had the nerve to say, it's complicated. We can't. What are you talking about? It's complicated. We can't talk about it. I mean, what kind of answer is that to the American public that pays your salary and might feel that, hey, I could be actually a victim of that? And this guy, what could even possibly be a reason why we need to talk about that in private? It should be either yes or no. That's all it should be. But yet he's still saying, I ain't telling y'all nothing. So since you don't want to tell us nothing, then how about we just not fund you until we get in power and then get rid of the whole agency? How about that? See, I hope we have bold enough politicians that will go in that direction. And definitely, if we win back the House, we win back the dang on Senate, and all of that stuff, man. We got to clean house in all of these little departments in our government as we just went through and realized they're all about social justice. All of them agencies that got in on the censorship need to be cleaned up. Some of them need to be taken out. Get rid of that. We don't need that. See, that's what needs to happen. So God bless y'all. God bless America. Just in case you didn't have time to read through it all, I tried to get it condensed enough to where I, along with the guy who put that together, and I shout out to him, was able to cover the bulk of it so you'll understand what we're working with. Now, thanks, Don. Tom, put the number up, guys, just in case you want to be a part of the notification text. 1-877-931 2396 is the number. 1-877-931-2396. If you text the word join to that number, then you'll get notifications very soon, as soon as I get verified that I'm a real person. Yeah, you'll start getting texts from me so you don't miss another episode or an individual show. If you want to support the channel, I saw somebody gave in the super chat. Thank you so much. If you'd also prefer to send any donations or support to my Cash App or PayPal, the links are below my videos. Also, please subscribe to my alternative channel. I don't know if those numbers went up from the other day, but I told y'all we was at a certain number trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. Now, once again, I could be a victim of censorship. Who knows? I might have over 1,000, but it's hard to tell. So let me just give y'all an accurate update of what we're looking at over on my Stop and Think About It channel, just in case they unexist me here on Facebook. Oh man, the number ain't even went up. We're still at 751. So either they hiding that number from me, or you guys y'all don't love Kev enough to subscribe. So please subscribe to that alternative channel so we can have fun over there too. And then also, if you want to check out the podcast to my shows, all of these live streams are converted to podcasts. You can find them in the description below. And I think that might be it. And subscribe to my Rumble channel too. So God bless y'all. God bless America. Let's get out of here and see if we can apply all of the knowledge we done learned about this funky government and the agencies that's trying to abuse our First Amendment, and then take that knowledge and spread it. God bless y'all. See y'all next time in Kevin's Corner. Let's bounce, y'all. Have a great weekend, just in case I don't get a chance to talk to you. All City. Tear up the place, yeah. Take care.